Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching Tesla Time News.
Episode 125.
On Now You Know. As always, we're sponsored by
our amazing, wonderful Patreon patrons who support us every month and make this show possible.
And by the solar-powered hotel in Schaumburg, Illinois, the Fairfield Inn and Suites by Marriott, which is a solar-powered hotel with EV charging, and I love it. All right, so what's this I hear from Elon that there's going to be some kind of Tesla Sentry mode?
So a couple months ago, Elon tweeted, "Please let me know what you'd most like improved/fixed about your Tesla."
And Seth from Electric said, all cameras record in the event of an alarm incident. Publicize this feature so that prospective vandals or thieves know they will be recorded if they mess with Teslas.
So then recently, Elon tweeted, "Tesla Sentry mode coming out soon for all cars with enhanced autopilot."
So then Tesla Model 3 fan said, clarification please, must have purchased EAP or just have or must have AP2 plus hardware?
Which means, do you need to have paid for enhanced autopilot or do you just need to have the hardware?
Right, because for instance, you have the hardware, but you haven't paid for enhanced autopilot, so do you get to have this feature?
Right.
And what did Elon say?
He said, since it's part of safety and security, all cars with Autopilot 2 plus hardware will get it. Which means that even though I haven't paid for autopilot, I can still use this Sentry mode.
Okay, well, what is the Sentry mode?
So on January 26th, Elon tweeted out again. He said Tesla Sentry mode will play Bach's Toccata and Fugue during a robbery and keep Summer safe. So
wait, what's keep Summer safe?
So that is a reference to Rick and Morty. There's one episode where Rick tells his spaceship to keep Summer safe, and then comical hijinks ensues.
And Summer is his granddaughter.
Yes. We're going to be talking more about that in our Patreon bonus story because we don't want to get sued by Comedy Central. So that's what we're going to do. But we can play Bach's Toccata and Fugue.
So this is going to stop a robbery?
I guess he's trying to scare away a potential thief?
So wait, so someone breaks the window and then this starts to play, or someone approaches the car and then this starts to play?
I think it's, if the alarm were going off, it will also play this. So your intruder has somehow gained access to the vehicle either by smashing a window or somehow getting inside the car, and now it's going to play this to deter the robber by scaring him by playing spooky music.
I guess. I mean, so Tesla's aiming for a beta release of this in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So I guess we're going to have more information for you then, because I'm kind of confused as to how this works.
So, I mean, I think that there are potentially better ideas for car security, maybe some of them optional. I mean, for instance, you could have a proximity alarm if you wanted to, because the car has proximity sensors, maybe not around the entire thing, but at least around the front and the back. And it has cameras, and it can tell if something is a person or a giant truck. And so what it could do is, using its cameras, it could say, that's a person. The person's getting close. I'm going to beep at it, or I'm going to alert them that they are getting too close to the vehicle. Or,
well, what about this? How about using the 360 cameras to record if someone gets too close and then transmit that information to either you or to the authorities? That way, if thieves began to learn that Model 3s were recording all the time, they'd be afraid to break into them.
Right. It could even be showing it on the screen, like, you are being recorded, and then it shows, like, their face or something. Yeah. Honestly, it wouldn't even really have to do that. Like, if it's parked under a tunnel or something and it has no, whatever, just lie and just say, we're catching you. I think that would be huge. I think that this is just sort of like a fun kind of Easter egg playing spooky music. I don't think a thief is going to be like, that's actually pretty funny. Well, I was going to steal your laptop, but because that was so funny, I'm going to leave it there. I mean, I think that the 360 Sentry mode is going to make a big difference. I think that as long as there's a way to record it that isn't going to a thumb drive, that could be easily removed and broken and thrown away or brought with them or lit on fire or whatever. Like, because I mean, with the dash cam, you get in an accident, you can pull it out and you're there. But if you're being vandalized or thieved, and they know about it, that's how they could get away with it. I don't know. I think streaming it to the cloud would be amazing.
So remember a while ago we talked about ExxonMobil being sued by some states to get information about what they knew or didn't know about climate change. Well, it turns out there's a document from 1982 from Exxon's MB Glazier, the manager of Environmental Affairs Program. They sent a memo to Exxon's management on the CO2 greenhouse effect, including a pretty well-documented understanding on how it works and even a graph, here it is, showing global temperature increase.
Right. Projected global temperature increase. You can look at this. It's pretty much accurate. It's showing, if you look at 2019 and you go up to the parts per million of CO2 that's in the atmosphere, we're basically right smack bang on along with the temperature increase as well.
Yeah, I mean, the effect was well known all the way back in the 80s, and they tried to hide it from all of us. And in fact, when they've been asked, did you know that your fossil fuels would be causing this problem? They all said, no. Not only do we didn't know, we're denying that it's even happening.
Right. And that is why we're so mad. When we're going after oil companies and we're like, these guys have been screwing with us. And everyone's going like, whoa, 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 like we couldn't have survived without fossil fuels. That's why I don't buy those arguments. That's why I'm not like, oh, okay, I guess we should have just been all cool with it in all these fossil fuels because they didn't know. And we couldn't have advanced society without them. What should have happened when this document got presented to the management at ExxonMobil is they should have gone, oh, well, this sucks. Let's sleep on it and let's kind of come up with what we're going to do and let's try and do the right thing.
And they could have said, let's start switching to solar. Let's start switching to other clean, renewable energy, and we will be the leading authority on this.
Let's take a couple steps back from that.
Okay.
They could have said, let's let the world know our findings. Let the scientists work out what this means since we're dealing with the entire Earth. This wasn't like, oh, only the southwestern corner of New Jersey is going to be affected. They were like, oh, this is a global thing. Maybe at that point, it's time to step back and go, whoa, this is bigger than us. We need to let everyone know about it. But instead of doing that, they went and did the opposite, which was to say, okay, this is bad. We're going to lose money. Oh no, what can we do to save our money? And so what they did was they said, all right, well, first of all, we're not going to show this document to anyone. We are going to refute climate change, that it is not true.
Yeah, we're going to suppress any scientists that are trying to do this research.
Right. And they basically were just like, we need to fight this tooth and nail because we need to pump all the oil out of the ground and burn all of it so we can make all of that money.
Right. I mean, this is a lot like what happened with the tobacco industry. They knew for decades earlier what their products did to people, and yet they suppressed that information.
I would argue that this is even worse.
Even worse than killing people.
Because tobacco products mostly affected those who used it or the people who lived in the same house as them. Obviously, I'm not trying to tamp down secondhand smoke or its effects. But you could, if you really wanted to, be like, I think that tobacco is bad and I will not use it and I will make sure that I don't live with anyone who smokes. However, with this, there is no getting away from it. You can't say, oh, I'm going to get myself away from climate change. Right. Unless you can move to Mars, there's no getting away from climate change because it's global. It happens to the whole world.
I just want to paint a picture of how the world could look right now. If when this report came out in 1982, if Exxon had released it and started working on alternatives, we could have funded solar and wind and other renewable energy. We could have transitioned to sustainable energy decades earlier. We could have EVs decades earlier.
Exactly.
We could, the whole country, the whole world could be driving around in EVs with solar-powered grids.
And I mean, you might be saying right now, like, oh, but the technology wasn't there. Look, if in the 80s we started pouring the kind of money that oil can pour into learning about EVs, we would have like a Model S-esque vehicle by probably like 1994. Right. We would have like a Model S, that kind of range and acceleration and everything. We could be building superchargers. That's not hard.
Right.
I mean, the battery technology would be the only hard part, but the whole world would go, oh crap, we've been doing something wrong for quite a while.
Right.
We need to fix it. And so the whole world would be dedicating, you'd be having tons and tons and tons of scientists and engineers with lots of funding working on these problems.
Because we're still arguing about it today. The school systems are largely still not teaching this. So we still have young people who don't go into college to become engineers to solve these problems because they're not being told it is a problem.
We could have had this thing licked. Being 30 or 40 years ahead of it would have made a huge difference. Yeah. Can you even imagine what battery technology would look like if all of these people had been working on it? We would not be talking about solid-state batteries. Ooh, when are they coming? We would have solid-state batteries by now. That's right. They would be in our cars. We'd be talking about the next thing.
Exactly.
We'd be talking about, quantum upside-down motion, generators. We're still really mad. Yep. And you should be too.
Exactly.
Everyone should be livid. This is absurd.
All right, let's take it down a notch. Let's go to a positive story. Yes. This is European supercharger stalls, and our friend Turje from Norway sent us this video.
Hello, Second Jesse. Welcome to Holmestrand in Norway. This is the first supercharger in Norway who has been modified for Model 3. In Europe, they come with the CSS plug. So, if you see behind me, 4 of these 16 stalls have been modified. All over Europe, Tesla is now renewing some of the stalls to this new dual plug version. As the small icon states, the top one is the new CCS plug for Model 3 and the bottom one is for S and X. Also as stated beneath the logo, these stalls are prioritized for Model 3. For Europe, we should have the first car late February. So, this was a short video from Terje in Norway. Now we know how the new stall work.
Now, what's so cool is that, as we've learned before, and maybe in America you're not quite tuned into this, it took me a while to wrap my brain around it, but a supercharger in Europe couldn't normally charge a Model 3 that's being shipped there, right? They needed to have a second charger that's CCS. So what's been happening is Tesla's been updating their chargers in Europe. And check out this graph here, Jesse. This is a graph. The blue line at the top is the Ionity chargers and how fast they've been rolling out their CCS. And so you can see it went pretty good, and then it's been just kind of leveling off. But on the bottom line there, the one that's overtaking the other line, that's the Tesla supercharger network. And you can see that it's just skyrocketing now as they begin to convert their existing superchargers to add CCS.
Right. I've been hearing that they've been converting 1 station per day to CCS in anticipation for the Model 3s. Very exciting.
A little bad news about superchargers, Jesse. The St. George, Utah supercharger vandalism. Mark Larson reported on Twitter, the bastards tried to cut a cable, then decided to drill into all the plugs instead. Units 1A, 4A, and 4B don't work. Others do, but just barely. Hope the security cameras recorded the...
So, I mean, there's about 1,400 supercharger stations in the world. I think that the chances that something like this is going to happen in one location are pretty high. This is not like a rampant problem, but it is pretty ridiculous. I mean, you have someone who clearly went in, I think, with a pocket knife.
How did they know they wouldn't be electrocuted? Because, I mean, I would have thought that as soon as you punctured that or whatever, that you'd be, killed.
I don't think that whoever did it was smart enough, clearly, because, yeah, that was not a bright idea to cut into a charger
135 kilowatt.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great way to vaporize yourself.
Yeah.
So clearly they went in, I think, with a knife, and they went and they tried to cut the cable, and either the idea of, I could die, went through their head, or they were like, this is a really tough cable. So then they stopped doing that, and then they either drilled, I think that they kind of scraped with a knife the inside of all of the charging cables. I'm trying to think of why this could have happened. Either this person was wronged by a Tesla driver, or they just weren't having a good day.
Maybe they were a short seller and they just had a bad day.
Right. I mean, this is a particularly useful supercharger. It's right between Las Vegas and...
Yeah, it's super important. I mean, if you can't get out of Las Vegas going north without this one. But let's just hope it's an isolated incident and then it's just some vandals and hopefully they'll catch them. Our friend Galileo over at Hyperchange has come out with this really cool concept, and he's been working with this company called Say. And this is so that retail investors in Tesla can have a say when there's a shareholder call. Because if you remember, most of the time it's just a bunch of analysts and big Wall Street types that get to ask questions of Elon. And most of the times they've already been answered in the letter. And most of the times their questions are lame.
Right.
Well, if you go over to this link here, Galley's been working behind the scenes to get this new thing going so that if you have registered shares of Tesla stock, you can ask some questions and vote up different questions that are there so that the investor relations people at Tesla will be able to choose some really good questions to answer on the conference call.
Right. So I urge you to head over there. I think today is the last day that you can actually do this. So hopefully you're watching this on Monday when Tesla Time News comes out. Yeah, I mean, I think that this is really exciting, having a way for actual retail investors to have their voices heard and, you know, having the best kind of questions rise to the top and having that based on shares.
Exactly.
Really smart.
As shareholders ourselves, I mean, we urge Tesla to go over to Say and get some questions from there, but also get Galileo on the conference call.
Absolutely.
He asks great questions. Obviously, Elon loves talking to him, and we get great answers from him. So that earnings call is going to be on January 30th, and stay tuned for more information from that. All right, this looks like a lot of fun. What is this?
So this March, Tesla is going to bring you and a friend to visit the frozen sea in Finland.
What?
Yes, so you can enter for a thrilling opportunity to attend the first ice driving event with a Model 3 and Model S in Europe. So you're going to sign up for a chance to visit Kemi, Finland, and explore the dual motor all-wheel drive like no one else.
Wow. So you're going to just drive around on a frozen lake?
Yes. They go on to say, with two motors that digitally control torque to the front and rear wheels, Tesla all-wheel drive offers superior traction and control in all weather conditions. Experience the exhilaration of track mode on Model 3 Performance and the unparalleled power and acceleration of the Model S as you race across a wintry ice track with a trained professional.
So, I mean, they obviously are doing this to get the excitement up for the high-end Model 3s in Europe.
I think that this is probably definitely the case. I think that most Americans probably aren't going to be jumping at the bit to go travel to Finland in March. For the most part, you're going to be in Europe, and I think the Europeans are going to be very excited to do that.
All right, now what is this, Jesse? This is VW's mobile fast charging station. What explain this?
So this is basically a 360 kilowatt hour battery, which can provide DC quick charging up to 100 kilowatts. So it can charge up to 4 vehicles, which can be charged simultaneously with 2 DC and 2 AC connectors. So I'm guessing that you can't charge 4 cars with 100 kilowatts of juice at the same time.
Okay. And to put that in perspective, a supercharger is 135 kilowatts of top energy.
Right.
Usually around 100 kilowatts on average.
For the most part.
Okay, so now VW claims that the total battery capacity would charge about 15 EVs. Is that true to you?
That would be 24 kilowatt hours per EV, which is just about the same size as a small Nissan Leaf battery.
Oh, okay. So what if it was a bunch of Teslas?
If it were a Tesla, probably like 5.5. I mean, I'm assuming not fully charged. Like no one ever gets to a charger with 0% battery.
Okay, so then what happens? Okay, so then what happens when the battery is depleted?
So this battery would be hooked up to the grid. They stated that it would be hooked up to 30 kilowatts, which means that it would take roughly 12 hours to charge. So it's kind of like this middleman energy guy. So he's getting like a constant stream of energy, and he's going, all right, guys, so who wants some energy? I got some energy. I'll give it to you 100 kilowatts. Here you go. But, you know, he can't. I'm saying it's a battery. But basically, this charging station would be able to give you more power than a charging station just hooked up to the grid at that location would be able to give you.
Oh, I see. Because when Tesla goes in and installs a supercharger, they need to bring in a big trunk line with a ton of energy, and this would be for places that just don't have that ability.
I think that it would be especially powerful for places that have solar, because then you could just charge it up using solar, and I think that Tesla should be doing this.
Yeah.
I think that when Tesla goes, especially through Australia, through the outback, it seems like what a brilliant thing to just plop down a huge solar farm, plop down a couple power packs.
I think this is coming. I think that when they get battery production up to full scale, they're going to be doing this. There's a new product on Tesla's shop page, which is a wall connector with a 1450 plug. Why is this different than their regular wall charger?
So it's mostly different because you don't really need to wire it up in the same way that you'd need to install a regular wall connector. Instead of having to hire an electrician, you can just plug this into a 1450 plug, which can be kind of nice because it makes it a little bit more flexible, basically. If you have a 1450 plug in your garage, which is somewhat common for dryers and refrigerators and stuff like that, you can just pop this, pop it on the wall, plug it in, and you're all set to go. And then it's kind of nice because then if you're done, if you're moving, you can unplug it, take it off the wall, take it to your next house. It'll have a 25% faster charging rate compared to the Gen 2 mobile connector.
Now, what I thought was interesting is that it provides 40 amps or 9.6 kilowatts of power for all Model S's and X's and the Model 3 long range. But the Model 3 mid-range and standard range vehicles will charge at 32 amps. So I guess they have smaller chargers on board?
I think that that's probably the case. The biggest difference, I think, between this is it is really good if you have a 1450 plug. If you don't have a 1450 plug, there's not a real advantage, because if you're going to be pulling a new line out to your garage or wherever you're charging your car, you're probably going to want to pull like a 100 amp line so you can hook it up to 72 amps of charging power, whereas this will be limited to 50 amps and only push through 40 amps to your car. So it's kind of a balance, but it costs the same as a regular wall connector. The advantage here being that it doesn't need any installation. So in a sense, it's kind of cheaper.
Cheaper, and it comes with the standard 24-foot cable. So our friend out in Western Canada, Steve Brown, owns an apple farm, and he sent us this really cool video of how his apple farm operates. Now, let's just see a short teaser from it.
My name is Steve, and I'm an apple farmer. I want to share our ongoing journey towards environmental sustainability. I've been farming for almost 20 years now, and from reading and watching programs like Now You Know, we continue our voyage of making less of an impact on our planet. As Maya Angelou once said, do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. In the morning, my wife and I usually have breakfast, get the children ready for school, and then both head off to work. We both try our best to recycle, conserve energy, and be good stewards of the environment. But I want to talk to you specifically about the things that I am doing on our apple farm to make our operation more sustainable so that generations to come can enjoy these wonderful fruits that come from our home on our only planet, Earth. A big part of our carbon footprint was vehicles, so after doing some research, we decided to make a change. A couple of years ago, I purchased a Nissan Leaf for my wife Amanda. She does a lot of driving since she's a real estate agent, and of course, with 3 children and all of their activities as well, the car doesn't see much of the garage during daylight hours. Now, buying a Nissan Leaf was a big change for us, as we used to drive a big Suburban. And back in those days, we used to have a nickname for our big beast, the Suburb Hog. Why? Because it had an insatiable appetite for fuel. It seemed like every week we were gassing that hog up. With Canadian gas prices being expensive, it would almost always be well over $100 per fill-up. And then there was all of the other costs for maintenance on the ICE engine. But buying gas is just like buying food, right? It's one of those necessary things that many of us don't think much about. Well, not quite anymore. Years ago, I remember reading about these guys in Silicon Valley who were trying to make a car run off of batteries. It was better than most cars on the market. Now, there were electric cars out there at that time, but they were either ugly or had pretty poor performance. Not only did that little startup company have better performance than most cars, but the Tesla Roadster also looked pretty good too. Up until the Tesla Model 3, the reality is that Teslas have been largely out of reach for most buyers, and our family was no exception. So when I heard the Nissan Leaf would eventually be sold in Canada, I was pretty excited. After buying the Leaf and realizing that we could have a vehicle that would not only meet, but actually exceed most of our expectations, it was time to take the same technology to a whole new level on the farm.
The full video of this we're going to be releasing on our channel because we want to show you all the rest of the cool stuff that he talked about. But we're so excited because he is a referral user. And so we're going to be going out and meeting him in the Roadster when we do our US Roadster tour. That's if you use our referral code, and there's a couple days left, we will come visit you in the Roadster and blow your mind. So I guess we're going to be blowing Steve's mind, and I have an idea for driving down between the rows of apples so fast that they fly off the tree into the Roadster. We're going to test it out.
Okay. I mean, you might be able to blow them all off, but then they're just all going to be on the ground.
All right, it's time for the lightning round.
Here we go.
Do you know that pollution creates unhappiness?
Is this like proven?
Yeah. Siqi Zheng from MIT did a study, and they studied basically over 200 million messages on Chinese Weibo platform, which is a social media platform, and they correlated it with pollution. So they found a significant negative correlation between pollution and happiness levels, with every increase in pollution above a healthy level bringing happiness down by 0.04 points out of 100. But I mean, it just shows there's all these things we don't count about pollution. We don't count the cost in terms of health and now happiness. And we know that happiness affects us all in terms of our health and even greater.
So Volvo Construction Equipment has announced that by mid-2020, it will begin to launch a range of electric compact excavators and will be stopping new diesel engine-based developments of these models.
That's awesome.
The first machines will be unveiled at the Bauma exhibition in April, followed by a staged market-by-market introduction and ramp-up into 2020. The company stresses that diesel combustion currently remains the most appropriate power source for its larger machines. Electric propulsion and battery technology is proving particularly suited to Volvo's smaller equipment.
So you know how Ionity has the 350 kilowatt chargers throughout Europe? They had to shut down 20 of them because they were using the Huber-Schuner high-powered liquid-cooled cables, and some of them they weren't sure if they were going to operate safely. So they had to shut down 20 of the chargers in Austria, Switzerland, France, and Denmark while they checked them out. So Tesla has a new AI hardware patent that was just released, and this is for their new chip architecture going into all of their cars.
So, like, what do you mean new chip architecture? Is this like a new kind of CPU thing?
Well, what Tesla engineers have figured out is that to do AI properly, it's not the brute force mathematical equation processing that normal CPUs and GPUs need, right? AI uses a whole new way of thinking. So they've developed chips that basically maximize to that approach. And so instead of what other car companies are doing now, which is basically to use NVIDIA and GPUs and just throwing brute force at it, right? Tesla's going, well, that's not exactly what we need. Let's design what we need. And so they've designed a new chip architecture. So a couple weeks ago, Tesla increased the price of supercharging. The price went up by about a third in most markets. New York, for example, went from 24 cents a kilowatt hour to 32 cents. So the average US price was about 31 cents a kilowatt hour. Now, after consumer backlash, Tesla has now reduced the price by about 10%, with the average US price now about 28 cents a kilowatt hour. So Tesla said, we're adjusting supercharging pricing to better reflect differences in local electricity costs and site usage. As our fleet grows, we continue to open new supercharger locations weekly so more drivers can travel long distances at a fraction of the cost of gasoline and with zero emissions. As has always been the case, supercharging is not meant to be a profit center for Tesla. So keep in mind that Tesla wants to use the revenue from supercharging networks to expand it with more stations.
Right.
All right, so what does this I hear about the Porsche Taycan? They're going to be making a lot of them.
Apparently, they have doubled the amount that they are going to be making. They're now going to be making 40,000 Porsche Taycans a year, mostly because of 3,000 deposits in Norway, which Porsche normally only sells about 600 cars a year in Norway.
So first of all, I learned that all the pictures we've been seeing about the Porsche Taycan, those are still just kind of concept pictures because they haven't even released the production car. That's not going to come out until September. I mean, we're talking there's going to be no hitch on this car and no suicide doors, which I thought was a cool feature of the car.
Right. I mean, we've been seeing the Mission E for a very long time. The Mission E. And then they came out with the Porsche Taycan. Okay, cool. This is the real deal. No. And they've yet to bring out the actual production Taycan version that that you could actually buy. Now, 3,000 deposits for a high-priced electric car is a good thing. Because, I mean, these are people with money, and they're going to be like, okay, electric cars are a thing. What am I going to buy my wife and my children? Oh, is there like a cheaper version of this? No? Okay. I'll buy a Tesla Model 3. That is, I think, the way things are going to go.
Speaking of the Model 3, almost all European markets are now being open to test drives for reservation holders only. Where's Glovis?
So Glovis Captain, which is the name of a ship, is leaving Turks and Caicos right now as we speak, and is scheduled to arrive in Zeebrugge in the Netherlands on February 3rd. And so you can actually track it here at marinetraffic.com. You can actually see where the ship is, which is really cool. Now, the Tesla Model 3 has received approval from RDW, which is the Dutch regulator, and the European authority to test its vehicle. So basically, the Model 3 is approved for sale and driving on European roads.
Yeah, this is exciting. Go meet the ship. All right, it's time for our video contributor story. We've got our friend Frank Heggie, who traveled to Antarctica recently and shot an amazing and entertaining and educational video series about it. So in the first episode, we see how dangerous it is to even travel to Antarctica.
Those old explorers went to Antarctica 100 years ago. I bet they have Wi-Fi now. Getting to Antarctica takes like 5 days. It's a day of flying with 4 flights down to the bottom tip of South America, and then it's a 4-day boat ride over the roughest sea in the world, the Drake Passage. Luckily, I will be traveling with an Antarctic expert named Professor Bill Dietrich. So let's go find him. Bill studies the Antarctic ice fish. Of the 65,000 vertebrate species on Earth, ice fish are the only ones without red blood. For a bunch of reasons that we'll discuss in a later episode, these fish are only found in Antarctica. Bill's current research is trying to predict if the ice fish will be able to survive Antarctica's rapid climate change. The average temperature on the Antarctic Peninsula has risen 6 degrees Celsius in 50 years, making it one of the fastest warming climates on Earth. Bill's done over 20 research trips, and he says that living at Palmer Station now is noticeably warmer than it was at the beginning of his career. But on the bright side, the glacier at Palmer Station has melted so fast that it revealed an entirely new island, which they named after Bill. So don't say nothing good has ever come from climate change. My mom was Googling you.
Okay.
She has told me that you have an island named after you.
That is true, correct, yes. As of 3 years ago, I have an island in Arthur Harbor in recognition of the contributions that I've made to polar science.
Further into the video, you're going to start to see the real danger involved. I don't want to give it away, but it's really riveting, and I really recommend the whole series. All right, it's time for the Patreon bonus stories. If you're new to the channel, you may not know that you go over to Patreon and pay as little as $1 a month, and you get to see a whole bunch of stories every week that we're going to give you there. So if you'd like to support the channel, head on over. We'll see you there.
And by the way, there's also going to be some secrets in the Patreon bonus stories. So we're going to be telling our patrons before everyone else.
What is this?
Here we go.
Hey everybody, we're back from our Patreon bonus stories, and it's time for our shout outs. And these are people who give $5 or more a month, and they're super important for keeping our show going. So who do we have this week?
We have L. Leon Pendarvis,
Marcel Castor,
Vipul Mantri,
Grant Durante,
The Cub Tech,
Para and Sherry Huraki,
Sean Neidig,
Samit Momle,
Jonathan Gwynn,
Michael Mulroney,
Max Beebe,
Nikolai Weiss Hansen,
Brad Brandvold,
Nevis Drareg,
and Thomas Henry. Thank you so much for supporting the show. These people make this show possible. We can't do this show without them.
They rock.
They rock.
All right, it's time for Elon's tweets of the week. We got 3 this week. The first one is this: testing metallic heat shield at 1100 degrees Celsius. All right, and we've got the Model 3 screensaver. So adding software feature to open glove box automatically when car comes to a stop after a crash will look at bonding a thin plastic sheet to the front or back of the screen. Now that was last year that he said that. Then he tweeted out,
feature has been in place for 8 months.
So do you get this, that when you crash, please don't, but if you do, the screen is protected with plastic so it won't just, shards of glass won't fly at you.
Right. And the glove box will open automatically after a crash so you can get whatever documents you need.
And lastly, Pedro Melero said, Elon, can you add unlock rear doors after stop in a collision via software update 2? It's scary for a father not to be able to open the door if electrical power is gone. Thanks.
Elon said all doors unlock automatically when the Tesla comes to a stop after an accident. There is both primary and backup power to doors, brakes, steering, and airbags. Wow.
I didn't know that.
That's cool.
Community mail time. All right, it's time for community mail time. Now, I want to remind you guys that if you have pictures you want to send us or thoughts that you think might be good for the show, feel free to send us an email at zach@nowyouknowchannel.com. You can contact us on Facebook. But to be honest, we read everything, but we usually don't have a chance to get back to everybody. Although you could become a Patreon member, and we really do our best to get back to all of our Patreon members. So what do we got this week?
We have a video by Paul from Taiwan. It is the Tesla meetup in Taipei.
Wow. So not only did they all get together and have a wonderful whatever, but they had musicians playing the song.
Really cool, because that's not an easy song to play.
It took it out of the Christmas feeling.
I know.
It made it much more summery.
A lot more cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's time for the Patreon question of the week, and we asked about what your thoughts are about Tesla raising the price of supercharging and then the decrease in price. And Chad said, I think the increase is okay as long as the end result is further build out with more superchargers. Also, if Tesla was to ever offer other manufacturers access, for example, Rivian, then Tesla needs to make sure the supercharger network has some profit built in. They can't run a business by providing access to other manufacturers if they can't make money off it. Gotta think long term.
Now, this gave me an idea. If you're going to have a different manufacturer using the Tesla Supercharger network, which has not happened yet, part of the deal with that manufacturer could be a higher a higher rate of electricity for people who drive those cars.
Oh wait, so you're saying that like a company like Rivian, that maybe they don't have a lot of money to start, so they don't pay you up front for the supercharger network, but their users, their Rivian drivers, pay a higher charge rate than the Tesla drivers.
Right, because I mean, what Tesla needs and wants is for other manufacturers to help build out their network and help maintain it in the form of money. And if a manufacturer weren't able to do that, or maybe just to incentivize buying a Tesla, they could simply say all non-Teslas have to pay a base rate which is higher than owning a Tesla, thus giving an incentive to buying a Tesla and also being able to reap in more revenue to help build out the network.
Yeah, that's a really good point. All right, it's time for our supercharger reviews. Now, you know about this. If you go to a supercharger or destination charger anywhere in the world, you can shoot it, upload it to our website. It'll immediately be there for everyone, which helps everyone on the network to know more about your thoughts, what you rank it, whether there's good restaurants. So go out there and do it for us, and let's see what we got this week.
Hey, Zach and Jesse, welcome to London, the Tower Hotel, destination point Tesla.
The hotel itself, it's a great holiday destination. It's a 4-star hotel built in 1973 and it's situated on the north bank of the River Thames, just on the east side of the iconic Tower Bridge. The hotel has 801 rooms, sumptuous suites, 19 meeting rooms, a gym, 2 restaurants, a coffee bar, the Z Bar and lounge, and the hotel can accommodate up to 600 overnight guests. Just see reception for charging. They will direct you to your bay to hook up to Tesla Supercharger number 74. Their car park is a secure CCTV monitored gate only access undercover car park. These 2 superchargers were installed on the 14th of October 2014 and up to 120 kilowatts. They're available 24 hours a day, every day of the year. While you're using the chargers, you then have access to the restrooms, the free Wi-Fi, all the eating facilities we mentioned before, as well as the Lawn Riverside pop-up bar on St Catherine's Docks. The location makes for a perfect stay in London for a Tesla driver, as the hotel offers security, location, and almost all amenities. If you're not staying overnight, why not pop over the road to the famous Tower of London for a few hours of history while you charge your latest modern invention. Overall, we rate it a 9 out of 10, as the only downside, and we're being really picky here, is there's no lift to the lobby from the car park, so you have to climb an entire 1 flight of stairs to the hotel lobby. Keep up the great work, Zach and Jesse. We look forward to your future content with excitement. This is Cam and Helen, Aussies visiting London, Tower Hotel, Tesla Charger number 74. Now you know.
Supercharger in Ridgefield, Utah is just off of I-70. It is a 4-stall supercharger and is located in the parking lot of a Holiday Inn Express. There are restrooms inside that Holiday Inn Express that you can use. There are some restaurants that are not too far away. And we got excellent charging speeds where our battery was warm.
So, Adam, what do you think of this supercharger still?
I think it's good. It's quite quiet. It's very convenient. It's very close to the main routes for us. So, yeah, it's fine. There's another car coming in now to park, actually. So, yeah.
So we're here in a Tesla, rented from White Car, very neat. Another one's coming up. We got a lot of shops nearby for amenities. And this is at close to Stansted Airport.
Yep.
Yeah, in England, UK.
very close to the M11, very close to the A120. Absolutely fine. Yep.
Yeah. So out of 10, how many points?
Why not give it a 10? What's the problem? Again, it says 4 stalls here. You can get 2 on each, right?
Yeah.
Yep. That's no problem. And we've now got 3 Teslas here.
Yeah, good.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Yes.
So this is all. Goodbye from us to Tesla Time News and Zach and Jesse. Good to see you. Bye.
Awesome. What a great part of the show.
I know.
If you want to check out basically any supercharger that has a video review, you can head to our website, nowyouknowchannel.com/supercharger reviews, and you can see there's a map with every supercharger, every destination charger, and all of the ones that have video reviews have a little green icon. You can click on them and watch the video review. So if you're planning the trip, you can check it out there.
All right, so what do we got for new superchargers this week?
We have the 6-stall at Yangcheng Bihulai Resort in China.
We have the 10-stall in Hangzhou Jiji Intimi City, China.
Number 60 in Canada is the 16-stall in Mississauga, Ontario.
Number 249 in China and number 1444 in the world is the 16-stall in Shanghai at Auto Park, China. All right, you guys know about BFREE, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are businesses that are willing to give super discounts or free stuff if you're an Elon employee. And if you are an Elon employee for any of his companies, we urge you to go check this out. This one's really cool. This is number 117, okay?
Wow.
We're well over 100 now. We've got 92 in America, 11 in Australia, Asia, 13 in Europe, and 1 in Africa. So this one is from Allee in Vienna, Austria. They say every employee of Elon gets 1 free coffee and a free handmade pastry like an apple strudel per day.
What?
Yeah. We offer fresh Austrian and crossover classic vegan and or gluten-free dishes and pastries right there in Vienna. Yeah, so do you want to go to Vienna and have a pastry?
Yeah, that sounds great.
You know what? We're not Elon employees, so we'd have to pay for it. But still, it sounds good.
That's still, I want a pastry now. I'm so hungry.
All right, so we put out a lot of videos on this channel, and some of them get overlooked. I just want to plug the last part of MINDWALK series. It's part 4, kind of the wrap-up on everything you need to put that into place.
So it's a complete series now. At least
it's all complete.
It's the base series. We can definitely add more to it, but this is kind of a complete thought.
Yeah.
So there's 4 episodes in the MINDWALK, and it's amazing. It's how you can plan your life, how you can plan to get ahead in your life. If you haven't seen it yet, please go watch it. Zach has spent a long time writing this and developing this. Like, this wasn't like it took weeks or something. He's been developing this idea for years. So definitely go check it out. It's well worth the time watching it.
And just a quick reminder to everybody, we have a couple days left to use our referral code to get a ride in the Next Gen Roadster. So if you're thinking of getting a Model 3 or an S or an X, use our code anywhere in the US, Canada, Southern Canada, or Europe. We're going to drive to you and give you a ride. It's going to be amazing.
Right.
The program ends February 1st.
Right. So this is the last time we're ever going to be able to offer this, and we're very excited to offer it. It's such a crazy thing that we're
already
doing.
earned the Roadster, but we want to get as many people in it as possible.
Absolutely. So please, if you're thinking about buying a Model S, X, or 3, sign up using our code, and we will see you there.
It's the Patreon giveaway.
All right, it's time for a Patreon giveaway, Jesse. Go grab that. I'm going to talk about what we're giving away this week. We're giving away a poster that, you know Bobby from the fabulous duo Bobby and Brent. Bobby is a designer for Poster Envy, which is our other business that we run on the side. This is a poster he designed. So if you're planning on going to Mars, you probably need a Mars poster. We're going to give one away now. Let's see who's the winner.
Our winner is Craig Hart.
Congratulations, Craig.
Congratulations.
I think we should sign it, Jess.
Absolutely.
All right, I got a cool pen here. All right, so all of the cool names that you're seeing floating by here, I think they're here, maybe. These are people who give $5 or more a month to us on Patreon. The bigger names are people who give way more than $5 a month. And it's just, look at this, Jesse. It's hundreds and hundreds of people.
No, it's really exciting. We're so happy to have this kind of support. It enables us to do so many things and to dream of doing such amazing things, such as putting together like an EV circus with a Tesla semi truck that's going to be pulling just a load of EVs that we can just bring and drop in the middle of nowhere if we want to. I mean, I'm so excited to bring every conceivable size and shape of EV to somewhere that has never seen an EV.
Yeah, I mean, from e-scooters and e-bikes all the way up to the Rivian and stuff. Like, we're going to bring everything out on that trip. Now, if you want to support the show and you're like, well, I don't know about this Patreon thing, and you don't want to like spend any money, you can actually still support us using an Amazon affiliate link. So basically, there's a couple links down below. One's for international viewers, one's for US viewers. And if you're buying something on Amazon, you just do it like normal, but first click that link, and you don't pay any money, but some of your percentage of your purchase comes to us and actually helps us every month.
So I mean, if you're thinking of like buying an e-bike or an e-scooter on Amazon, this really, really helps us. So if you're thinking about it, you know, give it a shot, and we would really, really appreciate it.
Now, the other cool thing is if you want to listen to us as a podcast. So many of you new viewers are like, I don't really think I can watch your whole show.
Oh my gosh, I don't have time to watch a whole hour every week.
Maybe on your commute or your jog, you could listen to us. We're on Stitcher and Spotify and iTunes and TuneIn and all basically the major podcast places. So you can find us there. You can even listen to us in your Tesla.
Right. And the downside, though, is that you're going to be missing out.
All the jokes
on
the faces,
on our beautiful shining faces,
or maybe that's a plus,
as well as, you know, graphics and graphs.
That's true.
But you know,
still
at some point,
hundreds of people. You know, it's about over 1,000 people a week that listen as a podcast.
That's so exciting.
Isn't that cool?
Hello, hi, I'm in your ears.
You know, another thing you should remember to do if you haven't done it already.
What?
Is sign up for the semi-truck racing event.
It's true.
I don't know how they're going to do it, because I can't imagine that any insurance company would sign the policy to let normal mortals hop into a Tesla Semi. Maybe they're not going to insure it. Maybe they're just going to surround it with like balloons or rubber. I don't know. But anyway, Tesla claims that if you use our referral code link to go in and sign up for their newsletter, that you'll be entered to win a chance to race the semi-truck.
Right.
Jesse claims that he will beat everyone. So, and I don't doubt it. But
absolutely.
if you don't mind coming in second,
you're all going down.
Then yeah, sign up. It's your chance. It's free, and you have a chance to win that. So that's pretty cool.
And lastly, I want to talk for a minute about our new and very exciting Discord.
Oh, Discord.
It is super amazing. So I mean, if you're watching to the end of the show, you're either like watching on a TV and you're just too lazy to get up. It's okay. Sit down. We've got some more to talk about. Otherwise, you're watching because you can't get enough. Discord is this fantastic program. It was made and designed for like gamers, gaming, communicating about games, but it worked so well that a lot of communities adopted it as a platform for communicating.
Right.
It's basically this organized chat room, right? So you can talk about loads of different topics. We have topics on Tesla and solar and you know, changing the world and stuff like that. All of these different topics, and we have an amazing group of people on our Discord, right? So these are the people who support us for $3 or more a month. So if you want to, you can head over to our Patreon page and support us for just $3 a month. You're going to get Patreon bonus stories every month. You're also going to be able to contribute to all of our polls on Patreon, and you're going to join basically automatically, if we have everything set up properly, to Discord and be able to communicate with all of these wonderful people.
It's one of the best communities on Earth, probably.
I
know that sounds weird to say, but it's like the smartest, most caring people on Earth.
Absolutely.
Would you like to join in and talk with them?
It was
it's
really nice. I like going on there and talking with all you guys. So we'll see everyone on Discord, and we'll see everyone else next week. Thank you so much for watching. Now you know.